Hi everyone, I'm Justine. I wanted to make this video about um, what it was like growing up in Estrella Mountain, and it was very different than living in a middle class neighborhood like Peoria. And I'm not just talking about being in high school, I mean graduating from high school and living middle class also. Um, Well, there's a lot of like really overprivileged, like snobby people in Estrella, and a lot of them they grow up in a big, huge house, and so when they're finally done with high school, they expect to actually be living in a humongous house the rest of their lives without having to even work for it. And I get that, it's because they're overprivileged, and it's because a lot of the kids I grew up with, I was there from kindergarten all the way to ninth grade, and the kids that I grew up with were very, very spoiled and overprivileged, and just wandering around all the time, and not really being given some people weren't even given a curfew. Uh, there were a lot of people that bullied me growing up. Um, Girls and boys bullied me. I had boys spit in my hair, try to like unhook my bra. I've had guys that took a basketball of mine and threw it in the lake, spit on it, and then threw it in the lake, telling me to go get it. And and it all led up to this one boy when I was in 8th grade, this one boy, he headbutted me really, really hard in the mouth, and he did it on purpose too. And that was really traumatic and devastating for me. And my dentist had to put a wire under my teeth to make sure my teeth wouldn't fall out. And that was really traumatic for me. And that also made me have a little bit of anger. Like, like they're treating me like this because they're spoiled and entitled, and they think there's no consequences to their actions. Like their mom and dad will, back them up no matter what. And that's one of the things I didn't like about living there, is because like everybody got away with everything, and there were really no consequences to, like, he should have gotten like arrested and put in juvie for that. But because we lived in a neighborhood that was so like went to a school that was so like full of spoiled kids that like were entitled, so he never got in trouble for that. I got bullied a lot. I got bullied by girls too, and I'm not gonna say their names, but yeah, I was bullied traumatically in elementary school, middle school. In high school, this one girl takes a basketball and she throws it at my head as hard as she can, standing on top of bleachers. I'm not going to say what her name is, but that was kind of traumatic because it hurt my head a lot. So when my family finally moved away to like Peoria or wherever we moved, in a way it was a good thing, because I got a break from all the bullies. I got a break from people, certain girls that were jealous of me, and things like that. When I was in ninth grade, and I was still living in Estrella, I noticed that a lot of the people that parked their cars in the parking lot of the school, they had like really nice like sports cars and stuff. And like when I moved to Peoria, which is a middle class, kind of a little bit lower class too, I didn't see anyone with a fancy car, and a lot of the people there didn't have cars, and so they just like walk to school every day or take the bus or whatever. But yeah, I had a really hard time making friends when I was in elementary school because everyone that went to that school was so mean to me. And, and they made fun of me because of how tall I was and things like that. And, again, there was a girl, her name starts with the letter K. She told the guy that headbutted me in the mouth, she told him to do it to me. And that really crushed my soul, that happened. And I didn't really feel safe there, So, like, there was nothing I was able to do except just cry myself to sleep every night, because I was being bullied so badly. But, and on top of that, my mom and dad were like going through this huge divorce, and it was just really awful. So that's my idea of what Estrella was like. And when I went to my new school, I didn't make the basketball team. I got like cut from the basketball team, meaning that I didn't make it. And that crushed me. So, and then at that point, I realized, I can't make a career out of this. I'm, gaining weight here and there. And then on top of that, like, of course I, got cut from the team. I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And that was okay, though. That was like a learning lesson for me, that I needed to be more realistic about my life. And so from that point on, I was a lot more realistic, and I was like, you know what, I think I either want to be, I was planning on, after high school, becoming a veterinary assistant, or a dental assistant, or something like that along those lines. And so I think I did a lot better when I was like a lot more realistic about my life. Of course, I'm not working now, but I am writing a book, and it's turning out really good. So that's like gonna be like my income. And I don't really want to discuss my finances any further than that. But yeah, there were some good times in Estrella. Like, I did make, some legit, like, real friends. And, and then I did make friends that they didn't have the best intentions for me. And, therefore they weren't real friends. They were just, like, fake friends. And, I had a lot of those fake friends in when I lived in Estrella, and I should have saw right through those people in the beginning, but I don't know. I was just naive, I guess. I was it was hard for me to adjust to a middle class high school or area that we lived in, whatever you're speaking about. But there was nothing really bad about being in a middle class area. There was nothing bad about it. The people there were a lot more down to earth. The people there were, they didn't care so much about like looks. There weren't a lot of people there that were like conceited. And so I did like it there, but I did notice though that there was a lot of like pregnancies in the high school I went to, and that was kind of weird seeing that. But because I wasn't like really used to seeing like 10 or 20 girls just walking around school, you know, pregnant. That was kind of odd to me, but, you know, just what a lot of middle class high schools are like. So, yeah. So, yeah, this is me just being truthful and honest. And, so I hope that you guys like this, subscribe, and comment.